So for this bonus material, I want to look at the recruitment project I have done that landed me my last position at OLX. So there'll be two videos here. One will be the pure presentation, so it's, well, 2 years old, so the audio is not optimal. Well, I guess this audio is not optimal as well, but what I want to do is guide you through my way of thinking on how I did this presentation, what was on my mind, and what was important, and perhaps what I would have done better after those 2 years. But what is the intention of those two bonus classes is that you have some kind of a template and a reference that you can use to create your own recruitment project when time comes. So let's go to the screen. I'll be now narrating. So here is the presentation. It's done with a free PowerPoint template that I found, as I can see here, on the website, which is just free PowerPoint, the template designs.com. And this is what I will always do. It's the go-to strategy to have something that looks cool and doesn't take away the time you have to prepare your presentation. You don't need to focus on the design, but if you can do it in a way that it makes it look pleasing, then by all means. So, as you can see, there is a title page, and we then go to a brief mention of my resume. I mean, it's barely 20-30 seconds in the video because that's not the point. It's just for people who are not connected to the recruitment process itself, but will get to see the video. So just a very brief introduction. So the next slide is, as mentioned in the dedicated class, the review of the parameters of this presentation, what the future employer expected and wanted to see. Now, you will see that in the presentation, I do not read that out loud. I say pause the video and read it because it's pure copy-paste from the email I got from them. So, again, if someone who had no idea or was not connected to the recruitment process before and gets shown to the video to ask for advice, will know what was the point of the presentation and how to judge it. So you can see that there is a task. Let me not read you the slides. You can pause it and read it on your own. Here is what I was supposed to do. And you can see clearly that it's about designing an app and a process of rolling it out. So unlike different presentations I made over the year, there isn't a big emphasis on presenting the data-drivenness. I mean, you will hear in the video that there is some hint of research done on comparison, but at least for this quality points, I did not feel that it's all about numbers and presentation. It's all about the thinking on how the product operates and how to best present it and how to plan its rollout. So what I also did is that I wanted to stress that it's my own work because it was sort of a redesign of an existing presentation, an existing app, and I wanted to do it from the beginning on my own, and not just look at existing solution and copy paste it. I wanted to stress that I am showing my own creativity here. So since the task was similar to existing products, I just made a quick slide on what I looked at when thinking about what I'll do and coming up with a vision. And this really is sort of a, hey, I know what the vision is. I know how important it is, so I'll include it in this presentation. Arguably, it doesn't follow the format I showed in the class, but we all learn as time goes on. And it's really just showing off. I know what the vision is, I know it's important, and I know it's good to start with it. Then on the next slide, I do a slight market analysis, so to show where I see the clients for the app and how wide the audience is and how many different people I considered to be a potential customer for this project. So then I did something that really surprised me because, well, frankly, I didn't look at this presentation for the last 2 years. But what I found is that I had designed the product values, really, what it looks like. But it's not values per se, it's like more a very different topic, like basic philosophies. So where I'm coming from when designing this app. And this is important because we are doing this from scratch. And this exercise, this recruitment project, is supposed to evaluate my way of thinking. So some of the things may not resonate well. So I had to stress them. Thus, this slide. What was my jumping off point when designing the whole ordeal? Now, there's a single joking slide here with Mr. T from the A team and paraphrasing his catchphrase. So I just wanted to say that we have to track everything, that it's really just, hey, I'm data-driven, though I didn't have any opportunity to show numbers in this presentation because that's not really helpful in a 12-minute video I had to present. And it was not like a requirement to create 12-minute video. The video with narration, in my opinion, is the best format for that. And putting as many information as I can should be very helpful. So, hey, I'm data-driven. Next slide. Hey, I know what SWOT analysis is and I can use it. You can see it's very brief, but it's the compact nature of this exercise that makes you create such slides, whereas it's not really valuable because it's just too short. It's like you have very short scene to show how good you are, and you have to make the best of it. That makes sense. That is viable. That shows I knew what a SWOT analysis and how to conduct it. Carry on. In this slide, I analyzed the fact that there is a user journey for a person who purchases a car online that you need to adapt to a product. So this is also important that user journeys were not included in the core of the course, so we can go back to that in the future. But for now, I did focus in the next slide on what is the most important in this app. What would be my MVP, my first iteration, my first release. So I can see that what I wanted to do is just give a user ability to very well find the car he or she is looking for and be able to sell it without any razzle-dazzle or anything that's unimportant. Just the core of the offer done in a way that's very optimal. So you can see that I do focus on good instant results and efficient search engine, that I want to have well-structured categories, that is an easy process. So we are really building an MVP, minimum viable product, not something that just works and is shitty, right? Remember the class. So here is where I start to show off some basic designs. Those were done in balsamic mockup programs, the one on the right hand side. And I just confront how the search categories for different cars are hard to pinpoint and how can they be compressed into a simple search engine that fits in the in the mobile app. So you can see that there is just a few of them with more filters available, and you already are trying to show the cars that you can be interested in as a just added section. So you are exposed to the car ASAP. I don't think I stress this on the presentation itself, but you can also see that I narrate this presentation in a way that these 5 sections represent the different stages of development, different sections of the app, and also they are a progress bar for the presentation itself. So that's very neat of me, and I don't want to boast, but that's something you need to look at to make the presentation fly. I do recommend that you should do a 15 minutes maximum, 10 minutes optimum, but it has to still fly, it has to be fluent, and you have to be able to keep the attention, because product managers have to be interesting in their narration and keep the focus on their stakeholders' attention. Oh, let's see now. I keep rambling on about the car itself. Yes, so this is the car's presentation screen. So it's just my opinion on how this should look like and why. Again, this might not be the best one, and product manager is not the person who will do this single-handedly, but you have the opportunity to show your thinking, and well, thinking is what you are presenting here. So I also stress that I try to be practical, so not to reinvent the wheel. So I do stress that payment is something that was perfected in many different apps, and there's no need to figure out the perfect payment UX. It's very easy to simply copy-paste it from somewhere. And that leads us to our first major update outside the MVP, which are alerts, which I do analyze on what is important on those alerts. And this is coming off my experience from a job board where the alerts were primary channel of acquiring additional candidates. So I see this as a primary channel of building brand loyalty and getting new clients back to the app looking for more cars. I even take the notification box that I have created with my team at Stepstone and adapt it to this particular app for a car search, now the job position search. And I do stress that we have the push and email notification channels. It's compliant with GDPR, yada yada. It's very important. And also I try to place the alerts in the UX itself. And you can see that as a promise, there's a progress bar and a new icon appears on the menu bar here down in the phone. So then we go to the next release with the order history and management. Now, arguably, this should be there in the MVP, but also doesn't really need to be there. Before we sell the first car and purchase one, we'll have some time. So there is few weeks, maybe even months, where you can start getting clients looking for cars, analyzing them, making first purchases, and before those purchases have many numbers, you can then release that order history element. Of course, that might not be universal, or the timing might not be right, but as a single person having a single job to do and presenting the way of thinking, I strongly believe that this is viable, that we can have an MVP without the order management in the market quicker, and then code it to release once the clients actually buy several cars and are there and need to organize their purchases. Of course, before that, there's a lot of Wizard of Oz MVP elements with manual purchases, with human being conversations about how to pick up the car, how to maybe pay for it. And we had it in the MVP, which frankly I'm not really sure it had to be there. As long as you have a process where you find a good car, you show that you want to buy it, there can be a human being on the phone that finalizes the purchase while the developers work on future updates to make it more robust and automatic. So there's also a UX shown as an example with another icon. We are halfway there. And final piece of the puzzle here that I'm showing is all the tracking. I'm stressing how important it is, how to purchase it, and it's really a sales pitch format where I do show the inspiration from different other apps. It mentions the Paczkomaty from Poland. This is a feature where the delivery service doesn't deliver to your doors, but instead to metal boxes placed all over town so you can pick up where it's convenient, which could translate to picking up cars from the parking lots or all over the city, or just cherry picking where you are located and where you want your car delivered. So I do elaborate on this feature too. There's not much more to add here. And finally, I present the final section, which is profile, but this is tricky because it's not a separate release. You need your profile at various stages of the process. So what you do here is just, what I do here is just mention that those elements do happen in parallel, and we just release the elements of the profile that are necessary with specific elements of the app being released. So that really concludes the core of the app and core of the assignment. You can see that the progress bar is full. I'm putting a nice graphic here. I do have a screen where I summarize what I've been talking to, just to have it compact. And finally, what I do is go bananas with my creativity and just show what other things that we can do in this app once the full product is released. Because we start with an MVP, then we cover the whole user journey, and then we figure out where we can go from there. And that's like showing that as a product manager, there's imagination and there are ideas. Obviously, it's a brainstorming session, and there's not much to merit this in terms of numbers and research. It just, hey, I'm creative, look. And that's what you want to show in such a recruitment project. And finally, the 28th slide, the presentation is done. It's about 12 minutes long as I recall, so that's less than 30 seconds per slide, so that's good, that makes it dynamic. It keeps the user's attention, it fulfills all the checkboxes in terms of requirement, and it's up to people who will see this presentation to decide whether it's a good one or a bad one. So I'm leaving you here. I've shown you my philosophy on how I build this presentation and how to lead it. And go ahead and watch the original piece with my 2-year narration and hop on to discuss it if you agree with everything that was said there, if you have any questions. And hopefully you can now do a better presentation for the recruitment project yourself. And if you have any doubts, there's even a dedicated Discord channel to this very topic. Thank you. See you soon.